lines. If you end up drawing one long thing, there's nothing wrong with that, but you end up with, say I draw a wing on this side, that's just one long piece. There's nothing wrong with it, except because it's one long piece, and I click on this, and I make it what did we decide, 0.01? 0.05. Okay, can you see this? The stroke starts all the way along here and has to stretch itself all the way along. You end up with this kind of like, I don't know, stretched stroke. Whereas this, it's kind of a similar sort of design, but there's lots of little different things going on. Okay, because it's just one stroke beginning to end, whereas that is trying to stretch itself along this really long line. It's up to you what you're looking for. I'll delete that one. All right, let's look at kind of one of the other packs. I'm going to close down the grunge pack and I'm going to draw some sort of halo. It's going to be right first time. Ready? Not even close. That's better. Okay, so betterish. So I've drawn a line above her head. I'm going to get a window, and there are lots of other stuff. Remember, so where is it? Brush libraries under vector packs. Grunge is cool, hand drawn is cool, and the other ones that I find are quite nice are chalk, charcoal, pencil, and ink. All the rest are okay. Some of them are downright terrible, but let's go chalk, let's go ink. Because ink has a special kind of extra bit at the top here. So let's just look at some of these bottom ones. The cool thing about ink is that some of them, this dark ink wash, you can see it's kind of transparent, which is kind of cool. Because it means if I draw another one, so if I grab the pencil tool again and I draw another one, I'm not sure that's it's back to being the donut. But if I make him the same stroke, can you see where they overlap? You start getting this kind of double, you know, the transparency. Let's zoom in a little bit further. You can see where they overlap, that kind of double up and make a fuller color. You get what I mean, right? Now there are these options up the top here, so I'll show you how they work. They work slightly differently. So I grab my pencil tool and I draw a smiley face. Okay, it looks exactly like that. Let's draw a crown. There's my crown. Okay, with it selected, like, oh, these look cool. Weird stuff happens. You're like, that's not what I was expecting. Okay, so often these ones get used just by themselves. So I'm going to delete my wonderful crown. So instead of like applying them to a stroke, you can just drag them out. So say this one here, just drag it out. Don't need a stroke, just, they're kind of like single use things. Just drag them out and they just kind of splot on. Okay, you can ungroup them. They're in a big group. Say you like all this, but you don't want this guy. You can go Object, Ungroup. You have to ungroup quite a bit. There's like a zillion groups in this thing. So I've ungrouped it. Still grouped. Ungroup. See the shortcut there? Mine is Shift Command G on a Mac. Yours will be Shift Control G on a PC. I'm going to keep smashing away at the keyboard because you have to ungroup it so many times. Now they're all ungrouped and I can maybe delete that one and maybe rotate that one to get a different size. Copy and paste it. Get what I mean? So these guys just get dragged out. These get applied to strokes. All right, so we've done the angel in this one. I want you, for your homework, to work on brush 02. Okay, so we've worked on brush 01. This is the angelic heavenly version. I want you to work and do something kind of evil with brushes 02. You ready for it? This guy. All right, I'm sure the editor has cut out a lot of the laughing. I love this guy. I love dogs. I love pugs. This guy's the best in a little jacket. But I want you to, I'm thinking kind of devil horns, pitchfork type thing. The opposite of what we had here. I want you to do it. It's your exercise. You don't have to make him evil. You can make him happy. Now, I don't know if it's just me but yeah. I found this guy. Thank you, Charles, for dressing your pug up and sharing the photo on Unsplash. But this is your class exercise. Practice the drawing tools. I'm going to have to let him go so I can stop laughing. And I want you to go through and practice using some of your tools. Pencil tool, use the grunge, try some of the other ones, and I would love for you to share it with me. This would be a perfect one for your Instagram. Okay, so remember on Instagram, I am Bring Your Own Laptop. On Twitter, we are Tuts Plus Design. And personally, I am Dan Loves Adobe. I love to see what you do with your pug, and I will see you in the very next video after you've done your pug homework, and we'll start looking at color in Illustrator. Hi there, this video is all about color. We're going to look at your traditional RGB. We're also going to look at something called HSB. Don't worry, it's really useful. What's really useful is this Adobe color theme. So we get to explore colors that maybe we wouldn't naturally pick, just to help express our lovely logo in a few different color options. All right, let's get started. First thing is, let's go to File. Let's go to Open, and in your exercise files, there's one called Color. Open him up. Okay, so you can use your version of the M from the previous exercise, or you can just use this one here, doesn't matter. So we've kind of looked at color a little bit, but let's get into the nitty gritty. So first up, be on your properties panel, make sure, you don't have to, but just so you know, I've turned back my smart guides on because it's going to be handy for the rest of this course. So little ticks on. So when working with color, let's say I want to change this color from black and white. I'm going to pick a fill color. We've got our pre-made swatches. These are the ones that Illustrator give us by default. Then there's this option, the color mixer, which allows us to kind of pick colors from down the bottom here, or type in, say, brand specific colors. Okay, say you know the RGB values for your brand, you can type them in there. You might also have this number. That's another way of describing RGB colors. You might have that somewhere in some sort of corporate spec manual. You can just type it in. If in here yours is CMYK, it doesn't really matter which color field you're using, but if you do want to switch it, okay, you can tell I'm at RGB, it says it at the top there, and I can change it by going to File, and down here to Document Color Mode, and going to CMYK, or switch it to RGB, up to you. Okay, let's say this random color that I ended up with, I like, but I want to make a darker version for it, okay, so I'm going to say, I like you, but I want a slightly darker version of it, okay? So I like it just a bit darker, but making it a little bit darker is quite tough. You need to slide these RGB sliders down and up equal distances, so it's a little bit hard just to like lighten and darken a color. So I'll show you a cool little trick. I don't use RGB. I often switch it to, see this little palette option here, HSB. And you're like, oh man, another one. CMYK, RGB. Don't worry, HSB and RGB are the same thing. It's just a different way to describe the color. This shows you the mixture of red, green, and blue. This just shows you the hue, saturation, and brightness. And I find just, it doesn't matter if you're pro or entry level, I find it's easier just to grab this and go, let's change the hue, okay? Or change the saturation, how light it is, how kind of full on it is. And then this slider, the brightness, okay? Fully bright, you can just darken it up. So yeah, pick a color. I'm going to pick this color. I want it to be a little darker. Now I want to use it again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my swatches. Remember, swatches are kind of pre-made colors. I can make my own though. So I've got that selected. I'm going to click on this new swatch. I can give it a name. This one's going to be called my M Pink. I can click OK. So now I can go to you, my friend. You are going to be that cool new swatch called, there he is there, M Pink. But I'd like to go to my color mixer, which is currently set to HSB. I'm going to just make it a bit darker. Same with you. I'm going to click on you. You're going to be that same pink color. What am I clicking on? Click on him. He's going to be that pink color. If he's not there, you can go to your swatches. There he is there. Okay, and I'm going to say, actually, you're even darker again. And this one's the darkest version of them all. Yep. Dark. Cool. So I guess that's just a helpful tip using HSB. It doesn't change they're still red, green, and blue. Just a different way of looking at it. All right, so that's one color option, the pink color option for the logo. Let's duplicate it, copy and paste it. I'm going to have another version. I'm going to line them up. That's why smart guides are back on. It's clever. See that? Straight across. Let's look at, so color, right? I get stuck doing the same colors all the time. Quite like these pinky, peachy, fiery red pinks, and I use kind of a teal green pretty much everything through my documents. So to kind of bust out of the same colors that I use every day, okay, if you go to Window, there's a cool little trick under color themes. So Window, color themes, you need to be logged into your Creative Cloud account, I'm pretty sure, and you need to have patience, especially when your internet's real slow like mine. This little thing loads up, and what you want to do is jump straight to Explore. Skip Create, we want to go to Explore. Cool. So in here, I've got the most popular colors that are being used in something called Adobe Color. It's an online web thing where people can upload their colors and vote on them. It's pretty cool. It's pretty color nerdy. But what the result is, I can say, I want to see most popular of all time or this week or all month. And it's just really cool to see nothing other than just cool colors I could use. It's just really handy to bust out of, say, your, I don't know, the same colors you use every week. So I kind of like this one here. So the best way to use it is to click on it and say, add to my swatches. You can close this down or leave it up. But now I can say you, go to here, go to my little swatches one, pre-made, and there's that little group there. Cool, huh? So I'm going to say you are going to be used there. That's going to be my darkest color. So I'm going to go to fill. I'm going to use that. Use you there. And you are going to be this color. Is that a good colorway? I don't think so. I think I messed that up somehow. That's right. That's why we've got these options and we can play around with them. I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to duplicate him. Sneaky trick. Ooh, shows you a sneaky trick. So instead of copying and pasting, I drag with my black arrow. While I'm dragging, hold down the Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC, and that will drag out a duplicate. So instead of copying and pasting, just drag it, hold down the Option key, and you get a duplicate. All right. And so this guy here, I'm going to do one more set of colors. I'm going to speed through it. Okay, so I picked a color there, and I also remembered to show you, I just remembered now, go to explore, and you can see this button here, it's the search option. So I typed in 80s, and look at all these brilliant 80s colors. So you can type in cafe and bank, and there's all sorts of things in there. So back to speeding it up again. All right, we're back. I picked some colors. Yeah, back with them. The good thing about it is we can just keep duplicating these things and keep carrying on. I don't know why, I think it feels like it could be kind of cool if we move these down. I'm just using my arrow keys. Maybe grabbing this and just using my arrow keys to tap it to the right. I don't know, is that better? I'm gonna pick one more 80s thing. I'll see you in a sec. All right, I'm back. That's my 80s version. And I guess that is the color basics. Okay, so we worked out to use RGB, switching it to HSB, hue, saturation, and brightness. Then we looked at this cool Adobe color themes. If you really enjoyed this, go check out color.adobe.com. That's kind of like the big web interface version of this. Go to explore and you can, I guess, see they're quite small in here. You can see them in a nice bigger web version. And what you've got to do now is take the M that you made earlier. Actually, you made a different letter. Remember, it was an E or a J, something easy to draw. Okay, and I want to see your color options. So maybe do 4 or 5 colorways, using your own colors and a mixture of color themes. And I'd love to see your examples. So drop me a note on social media. So I'll see you in the next video. Hi there, in this video we're going to take this boring background and add a beautiful gradient to it. Gradients are in right now. You might not be as excited by this particular gradient as I am, but I'll show you how to do your own custom stuff here in Illustrator. Alright, let's get started. Alright, you can get started with using any shape. We're going to use though under File Open. I've got a file that we can all practice together with. It's the same one we got started with. It's called Getting Started. Let's click Open. But it doesn't matter which file. We're going to use this square in the background just because. We're going to do type in the next video and this little fox I made with the shape builder tool. But this background here, I want it to be a gradient background. Gradients disappeared for a while and now they're back. They're cool, they're hip. Let's do them. So black arrow, got my box selected, and the easiest way to get started is go to fill, and there's kind of a generic gradient here. There he is there. There's a generic black and white, a generic weird yellow orange one, and some sort of ugly blue one. There's this one, there's some terrible ones built into it. But let's just start with black versus white and we'll change it. To change it, let's click on gradient options. Okay, and I'm going to close that back in. Otherwise you can get a window, open up gradient from there. Cool, so I'm going to move them just over here somewhere. So you can change the color and the direction and the type. So the type is linear, left to right, or straight line gradient, or radial. Okay, depending on what you want to do. Let's start with a linear one. Let's change the colors. We just need to double click these 2 little swatches down the bottom here that look like houses. Double click the white one and you can pick your swatches or your color. I'm going to pick color and just kind of randomly pick a color to get started with. It's going to be green, of course, and double click the last slider to change the end one. Okay, and I'm going to pick another color. I'm going to keep picking colors until I find one that I like. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, you can click it again, so it jumps back in. So we've got 2 colors. We've got a linear. Let's change the direction. You can be very analytical and say I want it to be top and bottom. Is it 90? No, that's diagonally. 180 is going to flip it across, or top to bottom. It's going to be 90. What I find is, unless you want it those kind of stark degrees, I just use this tool over here. This is one here. It's a gradient tool. Okay, the little square there above the eyedropper, click on him. What ends up happening is that's the